Hello everyone, welcome back to the Forge. Now today we're going to be talking about this little piece of equipment right here. Now this is not a sponsored thing or anything like that. This is just a knife sharpening system I found on Amazon. Fairly cheap at $39. I've received a ton of questions about it, so we're going to talk about it. As you know, there's more expensive systems out there. The TS Prof, there is the water sharpening systems. But I needed something quick and I needed something cheap, and so I rolled the dice on this one. And I have to say that I'm really impressed with it. For the price range, there's several different knife sharpeners in that range, but from the ones that I've tried, this one actually performs extremely well, if not better than the others. Now, the one reason I bought this at the time was I had actually suffered an injury to my wrist, and I wasn't able to use a sharpening stone because of the angle situation. Not that I'm that good using them anyway. So I went ahead and bought this and put it to work, and it has now become an integral part of what I do as a knife maker. I do eventually hope to get a better system, but this one does the job for now. A lot of bang for the buck with it. So let's go ahead and talk about what it comes with. Alright, so what you get in the box when you buy this is you get the system, of course. You get a C-clamp. This is not the C-clamp that come with it. It's a little bit smaller. And then, of course, you get I believe it's a 1,000 grit or 2,000 grit whetstone, and then you get the 3 diamond stones. It's 240 grit, a 600 grit, and a 1,000 grit. Now the way that I normally use this is I will take my knife to the grinder. I'll put the initial edge on where I can feel the edge starting to form, and then I'll come in at 240 and then just work my way up from 240 up through 1,000, and then finish it off with the white whetstones, which normally or high grit. This one's a 2,000 grit. I have up to a 3,000 grit, at which point I'll develop a good burr, and then I glued this piece of leather here onto one of these old broken stones, and I clamp it in there and put some compound on it and use it to strop off the burr. Now this is an adjust. You can't adjust this system. I'll get it clamped up on a piece of metal over here in the vise, and I'll show you. Alright, mounting this is fairly easy. You just stick it on whatever you want, stick your C-clamp in here, and clamp it down. It does hold it really well. I haven't had any issues with it coming loose or anything. Just make sure you tighten it. I mean, that's of course the key. If you don't want it to come loose, make sure it's good and tight. Okay, nice and solid. I normally do this at the table in my house until I get in trouble by my wife, but alright, as you can see here, there's a little knob here on the back. You can loosen it off, and that basically controls the up and down or the angle at which you will be sharpening the knife. And then of course you have this as the tensioner. The tensioner right here basically just helps hold all this together here. You tighten it down. It keeps it all nice and sturdy, and then you turn this right here, which basically locks in this little head here with these 2 little bolts. It'll keep it from flipping around while you're trying to sharpen your knife. Now once you loosen this off, go ahead and loosen this off a little bit. You can come in here at that point and you can actually flip it over. So not too bad. Like I said, this is not a brand new piece. This is a piece that I have put through. I've ran through the mill on this sucker. I've done countless knives, some very large knives, and it's performed great. Alright, this is the portion here that holds the knife. It is held in with a hex bolt and a nut, and it does have a rubber lining. You can see that mine's kind of wore out. If it's a Damascus knife or something, I'll throw some tape on the blade so this don't scuff it, because sometimes it will. But like I said, this is a used piece of equipment. I don't like a lot of times doing reviews over brand new stuff like this that hasn't been, hasn't been tested. Now if it's a piece of like shop equipment or something, that's one thing, like a power saw or something that's electronic, because it right out of the box those are expected to perform immediately. Something like this may wear down over the course of time and get worse, and it may perform great right out of the box, and you'd be like, man, this is fantastic, but then a month down the road of use, it begins to fall to pieces. This has been, like I said, I've done countless knives with it. It has traveled all the way to Alaska with me and back here to Oklahoma, and I've already used it here in Oklahoma on several knives. And so Very pleased with it. I have a knife actually. A lot of you longtime subscribers here to the channel probably remember when I made this. This was a knife I made with my daughter. She actually helped forge it and everything. It's her kitchen knife. This is a 80 layer Damascus chef's knife, and it's what I'm going to be sharpening today. It's pretty dull. I'll show you that in a second. Like I said, it's pretty dull. It cuts, but not great. Nowhere near like it should. So I'm going to go ahead and get this clamped up in there. I'll show you how you do that, and then we'll get an edge back on it and get it back to being razor sharp. Alright, and as you can tell, nice and sturdy, not much movement. Alright, before we get too far along, I almost forgot to talk about this piece here. This is the actual arm that goes into this eyelet up here on the top. And this is what our sharpening stones clamp into. It has a little spring here. Alright, it slides right here like that. There we go. And that's what we look like. Now, to determine the angle on this, they actually have an app that you can download to your phone. I don't have that app. These bevels and this angle has already been established a long time ago, so I'm just going to eyeball it and match it as close as I can. Clean it up. Like I said, I'm going to start with the 240 grit diamond stone. That should help refine the edge again, and then I'll just work my way up through, and we'll see how good she cuts at the end. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. Alright, like I said, to change it, just pop it out. I'm going to put the 600 in. Slide it in place. There we go. Ready to get back at it. And like I said, this would be a lot more stable on an actual table. I just clamped it up in this piece of a 1/4 inch by 2 inch steel here in the vise at the forge, just to kind of show how it works and have the space to put the camera up and everything else. So on a workbench or on a table, it's going to work a whole lot better than this. So keep that in mind. And I'm also not trying to build this as some sort of professional grade knife sharpener. It is not that. But it is a knife sharpener if you're new to knife making, just getting started out, kind of strapped on money when it comes to things. Maybe you can't get the stones or something. It's an excellent alternative. And this is not a how to sharpen a knife video. There's a lot of those on YouTube. Outdoors 55 has a lot of really cool ones, a lot of good ones where he explains a lot, gets microscopes out, checks things out and everything, and really shows how to do it. A lot of your other big knife makers, and probably just some of the smaller channels as well. I never claimed to be a professional knife sharpener, but I do get my knives sharp. Customers don't complain and they do the job. So at the end of the day, that's what's important. And I learn along the way, just like you guys watching do. So I'm a human. And so with that being said, I'm going to quit blabbing and I'm going to get to sharpening this. So I'll catch you in a minute. Also, for any of you wondering what I'm using on my stones here, I'm using WD-40. I use it for everything pretty much. I've read that people use dish soap, you know, WD-40, sewing machine oil, 3-in-1 oil, a lot of different things. I like using WD-40 from everything from hand sanding to sharpening knives, so it seems to work really well. On your regular wet stones, water works too. So that being said, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and hush up and get to sharpening. We are getting a burr developed. I don't know if you can pick that up. Probably not. But it is definitely coming along the edge. And so, you can see it a little better in this video, and from this angle. It's right here. You can see the burr there forming along the edge. So it's definitely getting it there. So let's go edit the next grit and keep on working. Alright, we're up to our 2000 grit stone, so let's go ahead and get after it. Alright, I'm up to my 3000 grit stone. Now these stones are fragile, and you can also get replacements on Amazon. They sell them in bundles. They're fairly cheap, I think $9. And you can get a substantial amount. So they also work well for when you're hand sanding to get in the choil areas and places like that. If you don't want to buy them for knife sharpening, you can buy them for that, and they work really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to 3000 grit, and then we'll see how she cuts after I strop it. Alright, I got my leather piece that's glued to the stone in there. I'm going to strop it, turn it over, do it again, work the burr completely off, and then we'll see how sharp it is. Now what I normally do when I'm doing this is when I start getting a burr the full length of the blade, I will increase the angle on this just a little bit, and then I will strop it again, and that'll help break that off and help refine that edge a little bit more. So I've increased the angle and I've done the other side, so let's go ahead and do this side some. Just being real gentle with it. I'm not like giving it a ton of pressure. It's nice and easy. The one thing I had to learn about doing this is to just be patient. You know, it's easy to get on here and just want to get a sharp knife quick and just get after it, and then end up getting to this point and thinking you're fixing to have a really good sharp knife, and then you have to go back and do other things because you rush through everything, rush through your grits and everything else. It's just better to take your time, check it along the way. And if you're a seasoned knife maker, you know this. This is more aimed toward the newer guys. Like I said, I haven't been doing this a long time, but the one thing I learned along the way is to listen to the advice you're told. Go do research. I mean, the American Bladesmith Society has a massive database where master bladesmiths, journeyman bladesmiths, in the forums in there, they tell you how to do certain things, what works for them. And I mean, they're a master bladesmith and a journeyman bladesmith for a reason. There's a lot that goes into that, a lot of work and a lot of patience, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And so, you know, if you can get advice from someone like that, or someone that may have been doing this for 15, 20 years, 10 years, you know, there's a reason they're doing it at that level at that point in time. It's because they're good at what they do. You're not going to go throw crap at the wall and be a full-time knife maker, you know, 10 years in, unless you're buying your own work. So, talk to those guys. Get on Facebook. Get on the forums. Ask. Somebody that's been doing it a long time is not going to bite your head off for a simple question. They're going to tell you. You know, they're going to talk to you. And if they do bite your head off, go ask somebody else. You know. Let's go ahead and flip this over, and then we'll be almost finished. All right. You remember where we was when we first started out with the paper slice? Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. I would say that's much better. It's hard to do with looking through the camera at it instead of looking straight down on it. Okay, so we're good and sharp there. I have a piece of this circular paper. You know, it's that real thin stuff like the Harbor Freight sends out and stuff. Let's see what we got on it. Yeah. That picking up? That's not picking that up. This will, though. Here, let's try it right about. It's hard to do by myself. Usually my wife works the camera. Okay, let's try some other stuff out with it. All right, I know the last knife I forged would do this, so let's see if this one will. Not bad. Right now everything is damp because it's raining and our humidity is through the roof. So I'm actually surprised it's cutting this well at all. Because just in the amount of time I've had this paper out here, it's already damp. There we go. Alright. I got a water bottle. Let's cut on it. There we go. I'd say it'd do the job. Much better than where we started at. Alright, we're going to try to do the paper cut test where you throw it up in there. Let's see what happens. Paper knife. There we go. Paper knife. There we go. I'd say we got it sharp. There we go. Alright, so there you go. Not too bad for a budget sharpener. Like I said, $39.99 on Amazon. Comes with some stones. I'll put a link in the description down below. Should help out in your workspace. With that being said, I appreciate you watching. If you would, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell to be notified of my newest content when it posts. Also, remember that with the coupon code Mystic Mountain Forge at the evolutioontools.com website, anything on their website, you get a 10% off by using that coupon code. So go check it out. I get a little bit of a kickback, which helps me be able to make cool videos for you guys. And also remember, the dagger challenge is coming up. I've got a pretty cool video I hope y'all enjoy coming out in a couple of weeks. So I'll see you then. You all have a good one. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.